Welcome to a Healthy Push podcast. I'm Shannon Jackson, former anxiety sufferer turned adventure, mom, and anxiety recovery coach. I struggled with anxiety, panic disorder, and agoraphobia for 15 years. And now I help people to push past the stuff that I used to struggle with. Each week, I'll be sharing real and honest conversations along with actionable and practical steps that you can take to help you push past your anxious thoughts, the symptoms, panic, and fears. Welcome. You're right where you're meant to be. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about, and that's fear. So we're going to dive into all things fear and what the heck to do about it, because if you're struggling with anxiety, panic, and agoraphobia, I'm sure you're struggling with a whole ton of fear. And I say that this is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is kind of crazy because I used to battle fear every day. Like, I used to feel so scared, so uncomfortable, so anxious, so fearful. And the most frustrating part, I think, of all of it was that I felt it when I felt like it was so unnecessary. Like, all the places and situations that I felt fearful, I felt like I shouldn't be feeling scared. Like driving in my car, going to work, going to appointments, like just doing fun things. I felt like, why the heck am I feeling scared? Like, I shouldn't be feeling scared. And I'm sure that this is all stuff that you can relate to, right? Like, you've probably been sitting there nodding your head like, yes, Shannon, I don't want to feel scared and fearful just doing everyday things. Like, why the heck am I feeling so much fear and what do I do about it? So this is why this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because I know feeling scared, feeling fearful is a big part of the journey, and it can be a really tough thing to navigate. And I want you to know you can have a healthy relationship with it. And it's so important that you create a healthy relationship with fear. Like, I truly believe you cannot overcome anxiety. You cannot have a healthy relationship with anxiety if you don't fix your relationship with fear and if you don't create a healthy relationship with fear. So let's jump in. And I just want to start by acknowledging something really simple, and I'm sure something that you've heard before, but it's important. Fear is an emotion that's designed to keep you safe. Like, there's a reason why it exists, and it exists as a way of protecting you. And although it's likely popping up a lot when it doesn't have to, right? It's important to recognize that it's not something that's trying to harm you. Like, it is trying to help you. And although it's not doing a good job of helping you right now, you can tweak things, meaning your response to fear, along with making some habit changes and behavior changes so that it's not popping up unnecessarily and making things so much harder. So I want to start by telling you a little story, and I want you to stick with me because you're probably going to be like, Shannon, how does this tie into fear and what I'm supposed to do about it? But I promise you it's going to be really helpful, and it's going to help to make things a little bit more clear. So I live in Maine, and here we get quite a bit of snow in the winter. And a couple of weekends ago, we started getting a good amount of snow. And so I said to my husband, we've got to go skiing. And just to paint the picture for you, like, Adam is a really good skier. He's been skiing since he was a little kid. But I, on the other hand, just started to learn how to ski when I was 28. So like, I don't know, I'm not good at math, like 6 or 7 years ago. And I am definitely a work in progress. Like, it's not something that I'm very good at. And I've probably only been like 15 times in my entire life. So we were headed to the mountain, and I was feeling all the feels, like feeling scared, feeling apprehensive, feeling like, why am I doing this? And I will not lie to you, like, I get scared every time I go skiing because it's just not something that I'm really good at. Mountains in Maine are like really steep, they're pretty tall, and it's really intimidating, especially if it's not something that you're like really good at or have been doing a whole lot. So anyway, we get to the mountain, we're on the ski lift, and Adam says, what do you think? Are we going all the way to the top? And I looked at him and I was like, let's just start by going up to midway, which means just getting off halfway up the mountain. And so we got off halfway. I did a couple of runs on some blues. And just real quick, if you're not familiar with skiing, green trails are like beginner trails. Blue are for moderate skiers and black are for experts. And so I did a couple of blues on going up only to midway, and I felt pretty good. And so after that, we headed to the top of the mountain. And after I did a couple of blues from the top, my husband said, "All right, are you ready to do a black?" And I looked at my husband and I said, "Sure, I'll try it." And I was definitely playing it cool, but I was scared, scared out of my mind. But I remembered something that used to help me a lot when I was working to recover from anxiety. And it's something that I say to myself. And I said, "Shannon, just do it. Feel the fear and take it with you down the mountain." And that's what I did. And about 4 turns in down this black trail, I fell. I fell hard and my ski popped off and I twisted my knee a little bit. And I'm not going to lie, I felt some of my confidence disappear and I felt that fear grow a little bit stronger. But I got up, I finished the black, and I just gave myself a break. I did some blues, and then later on in the day, I went back to a black. And that time I did great. I didn't fall, but I definitely had that hesitation, that fear with me. So there are so many reasons why I told you this story, and they're going to apply when I'm going through some of these things that we're going to talk about. But I want to just start by stating the obvious. You cannot avoid doing the things that you fear, right? You can't avoid doing the things that cause you to feel fear because you're absolutely not going to overcome the fear that way. In fact, the fear is just going to get stronger if you avoid the things that cause you fear. So I can tell you with skiing, it definitely causes me some fear. And oftentimes I think when I'm on the ski lift or when I'm on top of the mountain, I battle with myself and I think, do I really even want to do this? Do I really even like skiing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And that is just fear. That is fear talking. I enjoy skiing. I like it. But I can't let that fear decide whether or not I go down the mountain. That is so, so important. So I want you to keep in mind, you cannot avoid doing the things that cause you to feel fear, because if you do, that fear will just grow bigger and bigger, and it will seem and feel even harder to overcome. So really do your best to resist avoiding, really resist avoiding doing the things and really in general, just feeling the fear. So this is the big part that I said when I was telling you the little story is you really have to take the fear with you. Let it be there. Let yourself be scared. Because much like anxiety and panic, right? I always say you have to feel it. You have to let it be there. You have to just let it be with you and not fight it, not try to make it go away. And that is so important. And it is the same with fear. The more you try to fight it, the more you try to make it go away, the more you try to not feel it, the stronger it's going to be there. Sure, you don't want to feel scared, right? And you might tell yourself things like, I shouldn't feel scared, which is something that I do when I'm on top of the mountain. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay when you feel anxious and when you're having a panic attack. I always say it's okay to feel scared. You saying I shouldn't feel scared or I don't want to feel scared. Of course you don't want to feel scared, but who says you shouldn't feel scared? It's okay to feel scared. So feel scared and take that feeling with you. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to make it go away. Just let it be there. I have to practice this so much with skiing. The first few runs that I got on top of the mountain, I'm like, all right, Shannon, you know that you're going to feel scared. It's okay that you feel scared. We're just going to feel it and we're going to take this down the mountain. And after the first 2 or 3 runs, that fear is gone. I no longer feel it. And I have this sense of confidence, this capability. I can do this. This is okay. I've got this. So don't try to avoid feeling the fear. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself take it with you. Take it with you in the car. Take it with you to work. Take it with you into the grocery store. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to make it go away. Okay, the next one is a big one, right? You have to be courageous. And this is really important. Courage doesn't just land in your lap, right? It's something that you have to do. I get on top of that mountain and I feel really scared, and I know I have to act with courage. I can't think too much about it. I can't plan, prepare. what is this going to look like? What am I going to do? How's it going to go? Like, you have to be so present in the moment right then and there and just be courageous. Like, act with courage, knowing you're going to feel scared. It's okay to feel scared. You're taking that feeling with you. You're being courageous and you're just doing it. And so I want to talk about what can often happen when you just do it, right? When you just take the fear with you and you do it. So sometimes you take that fear with you and it's great, right? Like, everything is going pretty good. Like, you're feeling good about yourself. You feel yourself get that confidence, and then you might hit a road bump, right? Like I did when I was skiing. I was going down that black. I lost, my footing. I lost an edge and I fell. And when you fall, when you hit a road bump, when something is hard, right? Like, ooh, you get hit with a little bit of a symptom, or you have a thought or a fear that pops into your head, or you experience a panic attack and get really scared. Like, it's really important just to slow down in those moments. Like, slow down, pause, let yourself just rest for a second, let yourself feel it, like, let yourself be with it. And this is what I had to do on the mountain. Like, when I fell, and I felt that confidence like literally leave my body, and I felt that fear creep back in, I had to just let myself be with it. I had to sit there, and I knew, like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more scared now. I'm going to feel a little bit more fearful, because obviously this is my body, my brain's way of protecting me. Like heck, you're going to get up and keep going down this black, right? Like, we're not doing this anymore. Heck no. But I knew I just need to slow down. I just need to take a moment. I need to acknowledge that my brain's trying to keep me safe, but I'm going to go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be courageous again. I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep going. And it's really important. I always talk about slowing down and pausing, because in those moments where you're feeling like defeated and really scared, and you feel that confidence go away, or you feel yourself get more scared, like when the symptoms and the panic creeps in, it's so important not to like push back on that. Like, your immediate response is going to be like, I need to like just push through it. I need to like just, keep going. Or you might be like, right, to heck with this. I'm not doing this. If you just allow yourself to take a break, like to get some clarity, that is going to be so helpful for you. Because when you're anxious, when you're fearful, things aren't very clear. And you have the tendency to immediately like run, or to push yourself and just keep doing it. And then you find yourself white knuckling your way through things, or you find yourself just like going out in the parking lot, getting in your car and leaving. So this is why I talk about it's so important, like slow down, give yourself some space, get some clarity, get back up, harness that courage, right? Get a little bit of courage and just go back at it and see what happens. And it's so important to let yourself feel that fear, to feel scared. It's okay. But you're going to keep going, right? After you've given yourself space. And you feeling scared and having like hitting a road bump and feeling really fearful doesn't mean that you should run or avoid. It just means you need a moment, take a moment, get some clarity. So another really important thing that can help in working through fear is asking yourself, what's on the other side of this fear? Like, why am I doing this? And, for me, like with skiing, it's really important to remind myself, like, I enjoy skiing. I love it. It is so fun for me. And if I let fear be the deciding factor, right? If I let fear make the decision, fear is going to say, don't do it. Don't ride the ski lift. Don't get to the top of the mountain. Do not go down that hill. Like, do not go down that black. Of course, fear is always going to make me be cautious. It's going to want to keep me safe. And I have to remind myself, why am I doing this? Like, I want to move past this fear. I want more freedom, more peace. Like, I want to feel free when I'm skiing. I want to have fun. Like, I want to just do this. And so it's really important to ask yourself, what's on the other side of this fear? Because when you ask yourself that, you tend to not decide. You tend to not go with the fear, like what the fear would decide. And you tend to make the decision that is important to you. Like, why am I doing this? And I bet there are really strong, big reasons why you're out doing the things that you're doing. So remind yourself of those whys. So another important thing relating to fear is like actually doing things that scare you. I know that this sucks, but this is a big factor in creating a healthy relationship with fear. Like you have to do things that scare you. And I always say, like, if you can do something that scares you every day, and it doesn't have to be big things, like it can be little things, but like doing something every day that makes you feel a little bit scared is so huge for working past that fear. Like giving yourself the opportunity to do something that scares you. It can be something for 10, 15 minutes. Like, I can tell you today, I have a live session of my Panic to Peace program. I get a little bit fearful, a little bit scared every time I have to talk to a group of, 30, 40 people. Like it is something that's still anxiety provoking for me. But the more that I do it, the more comfortable that I feel. But the first couple minutes of starting a live session, I am pretty scared, but like that feeling starts to fade. So, that's something that I'm doing today, but I can tell you, doing something every day that scares you, even just a little bit, goes a really long way. And I know that this sounds really silly, but I feel like I have to share this. Something that is hard for me to do is like to say hi to people, like hi to people that I'm passing on the street, or just to wave, because it feels like I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to think that I'm weird. Like, are they going to wave back? Like, and just smiling at people, just saying hello, like, hey, how are you? Like, I hope you have a good day. That can make me feel a little bit scared, like a little bit, ugh. So it can be just little things. It doesn't have to be the big, getting in your car, driving, going to the store, being at home by yourself. Like it doesn't always have to be big, big things. So remember, like it can be small things, but push yourself to do things that scare you. And of course, another big thing that can help you to push past fear is to get support. Like ask for help. Don't try to do things alone. Don't try to do it all by yourself. You don't have to. There are so many, people out there. There are communities. I have a community. I offer so much support. Like get support, take support. Like I'm really proud of you for listening to this podcast episode. Like this is a really good way to get support. Like lean on people who can help guide you. I ski with my husband for a really good reason. Like he's a better skier than me. He's more confident. He's more capable in it. And that motivates me. He pushes me to become a better skier. He helps me to get back up, right? When things feel a little bit hard. He helps to challenge me to say, hey, Shannon, I think you can go to the top of the mountain. Hey, Shannon, I think you can do that black. It's really important to have somebody who can help push you and show you what is possible. So don't be afraid to ask for support. Like surround yourself with people who, want you to do better, who might be a few steps ahead of you. Like that stuff will be super, super helpful too. And then you might be asking yourself, like, will it ever get easier? Like, will doing the things that cause me fear ever get easier? Like, will this day-to-day stuff ever get easier? Just in general, like, will things get easier? And yes, of course they will. Like you've seen this, I'm sure, in practice, but it's just really hard because it takes the consistency. It takes the you have to do something consistently in order for it to get easier, in order for you to gain more confidence, in order for you to gain more motivation, in order for you to feel more capable. Like me with skiing, I still get scared and fearful, but I know after I do a few runs, I'm going to feel more capable. I'm going to feel more confident. And whenever I'm scared, I know at the top of the mountain, if I take the fear with me, the fear is going to fade the more that I practice just letting it be there and letting it come down the mountain with me. So yes, it will get easier, but you have to consistently work on creating this healthy relationship with fear and having a healthy response to it. So I want to share a couple of things with you that are also really huge and I hope are helpful to you. So back when I was struggling, just the thought of getting on a ski lift, bananas. Like who can get on a ski lift and ride up a lift and be stuck? I'm using quotes, air quotes, be stuck on a lift. I would think like, what if I had a panic attack? Or what if I totally freaked out? What if I embarrassed myself in front of all these people? Like you can't do anything. You're stuck. You can't go anywhere. Like what would happen if I lose all control? What would happen if I have to go to the bathroom? What happens if I get an intrusive thought? Like I would go to all those places. And now I ride ski lifts with absolute ease. Like, it is so peaceful. It's very nice, of course, to go down the mountain and then get that break in riding the ski lift. Like, I don't even think about it. And, too, something that's crazy to me with skiing is now I used to look at people when I started, right? And I'm like, how do they ski at the top of the mountain? Like, how do they ski down those trails? Like, that looks insane. And now I'm the person doing it. And it's like, I get emotional because it's crazy that you can't see what's ahead of you. You can't see all the amazing things that you're going to do. And I know that some of these things might seem so out of reach. Like, maybe for you, like getting on a ski lift, riding a ski lift, like skiing, down a mountain, or maybe it's being in an elevator or riding in your car with somebody else in the car, riding with your kids in the car. Like, some of these things might seem so out of reach because of the level of fear that you feel, even when thinking about doing these things or while you're doing these things. But I want you to keep taking the small steps, because the reality is that with all the small steps that you're taking, it is creating new and healthy pathways, and it's all going to pay off. It's all going to pay off. And someday soon, you're going to be watching yourself doing things that you thought that you'd never do. You will be that person that's sitting in the car in traffic, looking at other people saying, dang, this is what it feels like to ride in a car and be at peace. This is what it feels like to be grocery shopping and be at peace. Like, all of that is possible for you, but you really have to develop a healthy relationship with fear and a healthy relationship with anxiety. And creating this healthy relationship with fear really comes from doing. You have to do. And I know that the doing is really scary, but there are really important, huge reasons why you're doing. So keep reminding yourself of those things and really harness these things that I've talked about. Like, use them, practice them, implement them. And if you found the things that I've shared in today's episode to be really helpful, share it with somebody that needs it, somebody that could use support. And if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you would go onto Apple Podcasts and rate and review my podcast. It hugely helps me. It's something really small that you can do. It helps me to reach more people that need the support. It helps people to get connected with the words and the hope and all the things that they need to get to where they want to be. So, my friend, until next time, keep taking healthy action. I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Healthy Push. If you want more, head on over to ahealthypush.com for the show notes and lots more tips, tools, and inspiration that will support your recovery. And if you're hoping for me to cover a certain topic, be sure to join my Instagram community at A Healthy Push and let me know in the comments what you want to hear next.